Hey guys, the Gun Boy here today, and the Squids are here! And after a few tussles with the enemy, I can tell you a few things that we're going up against. So, the update is here with a few patch updates, so check the Steam log to see what's new. There's tons of other bigger Helldiver community videos you can probably check. But I want to focus mainly on the enemies. So, starting off with the grunts, or the voteless. Headshots, as per usual, will get the most bang for your buck, but the zombies are numerous. It feels like that Helldivers made this planet specifically a horde mode with how much zombies are swarming us. With some of the primaries that I've been using, it kind of varies on how effective it is against these zombie enemies. Like, I feel like the plasma weapons specifically I've noticed have like a weird, like, oh, it doesn't kill them in one shot all the time. Sickle is a pretty good gun to deal with all these zombies as it shreds through the hordes, and it looks like it just does a lot of damage in general. The Tenderizer is a good option for you if you really need to gun down the hordes that are coming for you. I don't have actual battle footage of it, but I was using the guard dog, and oh, it was so good at covering all corners. Since anything that tries to get close to you, the guard dog will gun it down, and those zombies stand no chance against it. So, good weapon to watch your back. I don't actually know the name, but for the next enemies, we got this motherfucker, and he's pretty tanky. Medium pen guns are going to be your saving grace for putting these stupid squid boys down. And they have armor that looks like it breaks apart, leading them to be more vulnerable, but I would still go for headshots. Support weapons like the AMR and the machine gun or the heavy MG work great to make quick work of these guys. Grenade launchers as well. Railgun, though, I've noticed struggles against the body armor, and even when the weapon's in unsafe, it kinda chokes. Same thing with things like the laser cannon. I would not recommend those two stratagems. But it seems like out of all of the enemies that we have so far that we're facing, it seems like medium pen weapons can damage a majority of things that we gotta deal with, and light armor pen doesn't seem to be too bad against these heavier units. This guy has a melee, a shield, and a charging plasma weapon all in one. If he puts up his shield, I would just recommend aiming for his legs or throw a grenade at his dumbass. Next enemy we have is the elevated one. Fast and tanky and annoying. These wannabe Mandalorians maintain flight for a majority of the time you see them. Best thing you can do against them is to give them the Boba Fett treatment and aim for the backpack. And these dudes throw grenades a lot, so keep an eye out for that. I feel like they have similar armor ratings as well as the Bulwark looking dude. I'd recommend weapons like the Plasma Punisher or the Scorcher or the Purifier to deal with these guys, because their heavier armor just kind of folds when you start ripping it into them. I would try Reprimand, but the fact that Reprimand isn't usually the gun you can trust with accuracy, I would probably use something else, but I'll have to see how that goes. Interesting thing to note is that these guys don't call back up by themselves. They actually need this little snitch right here, just like that McDonald's worker. Once these drones spot you, they will call for backup. I think they do have an offensive thing, which is like zapping you with electricity, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem since they're pretty weak. Just about any weapon can kill them. I noticed the AMR instantly one-shots them, so if you have someone running AMR, they could pop those things left and right. Lastly, we have the big tripod enemy with its one-shot laser. It has a big shield and a big gun, so the best way you can kill it is when its shield's down. I'd recommend popping its shield and then firing your support weapon to kill it. And use the city to get close, but not too close, because I've been zapped by the mech. And since that laser is a one-shot laser weapon, I would also recommend you use the city environment to break the line of sight between you and that cannon. A good support weapon I know for killing is going to be recoilless rifle, the spear, and all that stuff. But you have the problem of the shield that comes into the way. Laser cannon is a definite no. Do not use laser cannon against this thing. Even though you can kind of melt it, the problem is I don't know where you can really aim on it to get the most damage done on it, because I fired the laser myself a few times this run and noticed that it's kind of lacking, like you'll overheat before you actually kill it. I don't even know why I tried to use the railgun against it. I was like, oh, it's not that big, it's like, it's not as scary as a tank or a factory strider, but no, yeah, the railgun does nothing! Lastly, we have the dropships. It also has a shield, and these things take a bit of damage before you're killing it. As of now, I have no idea how to kill it other than overwhelming excessive firepower, but maybe you guys can figure out something and let me know. The city is new. This is a new layout that I hope to see not just against these guys, but also against bots and bugs as well. The city is an interesting style of combat because now you're weaving between buildings that provide cover to deal with needed enemies. Like, oh, if you had this on against the bots, that'd be great. But yeah, so that's pretty much all the combat I have dealt with these guys. In terms of primaries, I would not recommend the plasma weapons to really deal with crowds. I would try to use something else like the sickle or anything that shoots fast. Shotguns feel like a definite no. Do not bring shotguns against this, as we've tried several things like the Halt shotgun, which is really only good for abusing the stun. Punisher shotgun is also seem to struggle because you gotta get close to these kind of enemies, and all of them have some kind of melee option, especially the Bulwark guy, so best not to do that. Alright, so we're gonna move over some of the balancing. So now we have the exploding barrels. They are more potent now. They explode and will leave a fire trail. Helldiver armor is now less likely to catch on fire. It will take a bit more time before you burst into flames, unlike a paper mache model. The primary weapons, Breaker, Spray, and Pray, is better improved ergonomics from 25 to 50. Bushwhacker has a faster reload from 2 to 2.5 seconds now rather than 3. And the Throwables, the G4 gas grenade, has a demolition strength from 10 to 30. Now looking at this one right here, we have the G10 Incendiary, increased fire duration. And then we have the first support weapon on the list. The Airburst rocket launcher now has cluster bombs on there, so it works a little different than what you got with the flak projectiles. Cluster munition bombs have a shorter arming time, and cluster munition bombs do not have detonation timers. So that's the difference. Next we have the Laz 98 laser cannon. It has a max spare magazine increase from 1 to 2, and a decreased heat buildup when firing by 20%. That'll be great for aiming at hulks. They also increased some of the boosters, so now the bonus game from the flexible reinforcement budget booster is now up by 150%. Expert extraction pilot is also increased by 100%. Muscle enhancement also received a booster at 40% increase. And motivational shocks also have a 100% boost. So that'll be interesting to see how these new effects work in the field. We have an armor passive increase right here. It's the peak physique. Melee damage is now bonus increased by 100%. So that's awesome. You're gonna hit harder. So the jetpack will let you aim while you can aim and shoot now while using the jetpack. So that's something exciting. The Exo Mech has been updated so to be a bit tankier now. Main health pool is increased from 600 to 850. The cockpit is now going up to 500. Armor increase on the cockpit is now at 3. The arm health pool is now at 350. The arm armor is decreased from 3 down to 2. Womp womp. Leg armor pool increased from 500 to 600, but it's slightly less durable resistance against projectiles. But yeah, that's some of the main things I wanted to cover. If you guys want to check the rest of the patch notes down below, look up on Steam to see what it is, because I ain't gonna read all that boring stuff.